The warm scent of omelets, toast, and freshly brewed coffee floated through the elegant kitchen. Won stood by the counter, dressed in a soft cream cardigan and loose slacks, her hair tied lazily. She stirred her herbal tea slowly, eyes a Taehyung from behind her. "You look pale. Are you okay?" Won gave a small nod, offering a smile that didn't quite reach her eyes. Won, just a little under the weather. "I'll rest today, work can wait." He set down his cup and walked to her, placing a palm on her forehead. "Taehyung, no fever, but fine, take the day off. I'll be home early, schedule's light today. Let's nap together later." Won soft laugh. "Deal." He kissed her forehead and walked off to grab his coat. "Taehyung, call me if you need anything, okay?" Won, always. As he left, neither of them noticed the tiny shadow in the hallway. Eunha stood just out of view, holding her stuffed bunny, her expression unreadable. She had heard it all, her lips pressed into a thin line. Won was staying home. Today was the perfect day. Location: presidential residence, upstairs hallway, main staircase. Time: 3:40 p.m. Won slowly opened her eyes, stretching lightly as the soft afternoon light spilled through the curtains. Her body still ached with the fatigue of whatever bug she'd caught, but the nap had helped. She stepped out of the bedroom, yawning softly and adjusting the sleeve of her cardigan. Her plan: go downstairs, sip more tea, and maybe wait for her husband to come home early like he promised. But the moment she stepped into the hallway, she stopped. There stood Eunha, right at the top of the grand staircase. Her tiny frame frozen, her face wearing the strangest expression. A smirk, but not a playful one, a cold, calculated, terrifying one. Won frowning. "Eunha, what are you?" The front door clicked open downstairs. Taehyung's voice echoed faintly from the hallway as he entered the house. "I'm home." Eunha's smirk deepened. Won's heart thudded. And then Eunha screamed, "H. Yama knew." Before Won could even react, the little girl flung herself backwards, tumbling down the stairs. "Eunha!" Won screamed, tore through the air, her blood turning cold. Taehyung, just entering the living room, saw his daughter spiraling down the marble staircase with horrifying speed. He ran like the floor was fire, catching her before she hit the last few steps. Taehyung panicked. "Eunha, are you okay? What happened?" Eunha burst into tears, her voice trembling, gasping for breath. "Won pushed me." Eunha's high-pitched sobs echoed through the marble hallway like a dagger to the chest. She was at the bottom of the staircase, tears streaming down, gripping her arm like it was broken. The maids gasped. A vase crashed in the background. The whole residence stilled. At the top of the stairs stood Won, frozen, eyes wide, hands trembling. What?" Her voice barely escaped. I didn't." Taehyung stormed in, eyes wild. "Eunha?" He ran to his daughter, scooping her into his arms, checking her rapidly. Pa," she sobbed. "She pushed me. She told me I'm a problem and she hates me." Won's lips parted, heart thundering in her chest. "Taehyung, I swear she tripped." I wasn't even. His eyes met hers, torn, confused, silent. Her voice cracked. "You believe me, right?" The house had gone quiet. Taehyung carried Eunha upstairs, gently placing her on her bed. He wiped her tears, kissed her. The house had gone quiet. Taehyung carried Eunha upstairs, gently placing her on her bed. He wiped her tears, kissed her forehead, and tucked her in. But he didn't notice the wicked glint in her eyes, the curl of satisfaction in her lips as he stepped out of the room. She turned toward the window, arms folded. Eunha coldly to herself. That's just the beginning. Meanwhile, downstairs, Won stood at the top of the staircase, her fists clenched at her sides. Her chest rose and fell in heavy breaths, wine in her head, cold fire in her eyes. I underestimated this small packet of poison. She has no idea who she's messed with. She descended the stairs slow, calculated. Every step was a move on a chessboard. Eyes followed her from the hallway. The maids, hushed and tense, peeked from corners. She reached the living room, every movement regal, composed, dangerous. Wyan walked to the couch, sat down slowly, lifted her hand to her temple, and her vision blurred. "Young lady," the maid's scream broke the silence. Wyan slumped over, fainted. The maids rushed toward her. Maid 1, "Young lady, Miss Wyan." Maid 2, "Call Mr. Kim, call the doctor." Footsteps thundered from the staircase. Taehyung's voice roared. What happened? His eyes locked on her fainted form. His heart nearly stopped. He didn't hesitate. He scooped her up in his arms like she weighed nothing. "Call the damn doctor, now." He bolted up the stairs, straight into their room, carefully laying her down on the bed. His fingers brushed her cheek, trembling. Taehyung whispers, "Wyan, baby, please wake up." His mind raced, guilt, panic, regret, confusion. In that moment he forgot everything. Even the lie he'd half believed, all that mattered, was her. In her room, Eunha stood near the window, watching, her face blank, but her teeth clenched. The doctor arrived. A few maids opened the door, whispering and bowing. Taehyung stood at the side of the bed, eyes filled with panic but trying to stay calm. His hand never left Wyan's. "Doctor, she fainted due to sudden weakness, maybe stress." The doctor did the checkup, blood pressure, temperature, and then pulled out a test report. Doctor soft smile. "Congratulations, President Kim." Taehyung narrowing eyes. "On." Doctor placing hand on Wyan's wrist. "She's pregnant. Probably 6 weeks. It's still early, but stable. No complications so far." Maids in the corner gasped, hands over mouths. One of them whispered, "Congratulations, sir," followed by a few others. Taehyung stood frozen, heart stopped, eyes wide, lips parted, his eyes welled up. A breath escaped his chest. Taehyung whispering, "I'm going to be a father again." The doctor handed over a small prescription bag and gave a few instructions. Then bowed. "Doctor, she'll be up in a while. Just let her rest and keep her away from any stress." The maids congratulated again. Taehyung nodded absent-mindedly, eyes locked on his unconscious wife's face. Scene shift. Time passed. Wyan stirred a little, eyes fluttering. Taehyung rushing close. "Baby, you're awake." He leaned in, kissed her forehead, her cheeks, even her palm. She blinked, dazed. "Wyan, Tae, what happened?" Taehyung smiling through tears. "You fainted." "I was so scared." "Don't ever do that again." Wyan smiling weakly. "Drama king." Taehyung laughed softly. "You've got something to say about everything, huh?" He held her tighter. "Taehyung, the doctor came. He said you're okay." And whispers in her ear, "You're pregnant." Wyan's eyes widened. She stared at him, blinked. Then she went quiet, calculating, thinking. Taehyung noticing. "What?" "What's wrong?" Wyan softly. "I don't think we should have this baby." Taehyung shocked. "What?" Wyan calm but serious. "I mean, maybe later." "Not now." Taehyung confused. "Why, baby? We're married for over a year. We love each other. We've talked about kids." She caressed his cheek. "Wyan, Tae, it's just not the right time." Taehyung, "Why not?" "What's stopping us?" Wyan quietly. "Eunha." Taehyung frowns. "What about her?" Wyan heavy sigh. "I don't know why she thinks I'm trying to steal you away from her or hurt her. She sees me as the villain. If we bring a baby into this now, it'll just make her feel replaced, scared." Taehyung looked down, his heart heavy. He slowly nodded. Wyan eyes teary. "She's your daughter too. And before I become a mother, I want to become hers." Taehyung took a deep breath, then suddenly looked at her. "Taehyung, you thought I believed you pushed her, didn't you?" "Wyan, did you?" Taehyung firm. "No, never. I was confused." "Yeah, but deep down, I know you." I know you love me. I know you'd never. Why pressed a soft kiss on his lips. He responded instantly. Taehyung whispering, "We're having this baby, please. I want to raise a child with you." Our baby, why? But Tae, what if it ruins your relationship with her? Taehyung smirking, "You never let me use protection. Now that we're finally pregnant, you want to throw it away." Why face turning red, Taehyung. Taehyung innocent tone, "I'm not lying. You're the one who kept saying, I want little Taehyungs." Why giggling, "Still, no need to say it like that." Taehyung grinning, "You hungry?" Why nodding, "Please." Taehyung stood up instantly. "I'll tell the chef." As he left the room, wide and leaned back, her hand slowly falling to her stomach. She smirked. She giggled, blushing as last night's memories flashed. Ahem, you know. The luxurious Kim mansion was bubbling with joy. After hearing the news, TDX's entire Kim family had shown up, not in suits and ties like political robots, but in comfy luxury loungewear, carrying gifts, cake boxes, and squealing children. Namjoon and Seokjin, the two elder brothers, were the first to crash through the living room with their wives. Namjoon, "We come bearing cake and chaos." Seokjin grinning, "Mostly chaos." Mrs. Kim was already inside Wai's room, sitting by her side, tears of joy in her eyes as she gently cupped Wai's cheek. Mrs. Kim whispering, "Thank God for this happiness. You too. You're my answered prayers." Wai smiled warmly, her eyes drifting to where Taehyung was holding a tiny pink bib that Namjoon's wife had handed over. Namjoon's wife, "We didn't know the gender, so we brought both versions. Pink, blue, and gender-neutral beige." Mrs. Seokjin, "Beige is for rich people's babies." Apparently, laughter filled the room as the rest of the family joined in. Mr. Kim entered with two toddlers stuck to his legs, Seokjin's twin boys. Mr. Kim teasing, "I see we'll have another little tornado in the house soon." Seokjin puffing his chest, "Still not beating me though. I made two at once." Namjoon snorting, flexing twins like you made them in a lab. Taehyung chuckled softly, stealing glances at Wai from across the room. She looked up and smiled. Their eyes locked, and even in a room full of people, it felt like they were in their own world. Mrs. Kim to her husband quietly, "She makes him soft." "I love it." Mr. Kim nodding, "She brought him peace." Taehyung chuckled softly, stealing glances at Wai from across the room. She looked up and smiled. Their eyes locked, and even in a room full of people, it felt like they were in their own world. Mrs. Kim to her husband quietly, "She makes him soft." "I love it." Mr. Kim nodding, "She brought him peace." All this while, Eunha sat on a poof in the corner, arms crossed, ignored, watching everyone fawn over Wai. Her jaw tightened as she saw Wai surrounded by love from strangers who were now family. Eunha in her head, glaring, "She stole my daddy. And now she's stealing the whole family." But no one noticed. No one asked her. The camera had shifted away from her and onto the glowing woman in the center, carrying the next Kim heir. The kids played around, giggling. Seokjin's boys were chasing Namjoon's daughter with a toy dinosaur. Laughter filled the halls. Jokes were thrown across rooms. Teasing happened over baby names. Mrs. Namjoon to Wai, "Don't let Taehyung pick the name, please. He'll name the baby something weird like Thunderbolt Kim." Mrs. Seokjin, "Or Midnight Fury Kim. You know he's dramatic." Wai laughed hard, clutching her belly gently. Taehyung walked over, leaned down, and kissed her temple. Taehyung to everyone, "You can all make fun of me after I finish designing the baby's nursery in 3D. Seokjin, yes, our nerdy mafia-looking president." Mrs. Kim looked around the room, heart full, then looked up as if whispering a prayer of thanks. Mrs. Kim smiling to herself, "I don't need anything else. This is my dream." The next morning, the air in the Kim mansion was calm and cozy. Taehyung had just returned from his early walk, hair slightly messy, dressed in a loose black t-shirt and gray sweats. Widen, curled up on the couch with a fruit bowl in her lap, was wearing a soft robe over her nightwear, pregnancy glow already settling on her cheeks. Enter Eunha, still in her pajamas, holding her stuffed rabbit and dragging her feet like she hadn't slept all night. Eunha in a small broken voice, "D-Daddy." Taehyung turned to her immediately. "Taehyung, yeah, sweetheart." She ran into his arms and clung to him tight, her voice trembling. "Eunha, you'll forget me, right, when the baby comes. You won't love me anymore." Taehyung's eyes widened and his arms instinctively tightened around her. Taehyung softly, "What? No, never. Why would you even think that?" On the couch, Widen slowly stabbed a grape with her fork, rolling her eyes so hard they nearly left the room. But the moment Eunha turned her way, her face shifted into the sweetest, most innocent expression ever. Widen softly, voice like honey, "Oh baby. No matter how many babies come into this house, you'll always be Daddy's first baby." "Right, Taehyung nodding. "Of course, princess. You're my first heartbeat. No one could take your place." Widen smiling sweetly, "No one can replace your bond with him. You're so special to him." "You always will be." Eunha forced a smile at Widen, but her jaw was clenched, her tiny fists balled behind Taehyung's back. Eunha in her head, "First baby, huh? Let's see how special I stay when the new one arrives." Taehyung stroking her hair, "You'll be the best big sister, and I'll love you just the same, my little firecracker." Widen adding in mock delight, "We'll even get matching outfits for you and the baby. I'll design them myself." Eunha's smile twitched. Widen in her head while chewing a grape, "This little actress better sit down before I put her in a role she regret." Taehyung kissed the top of Eunha's head and looked over at Widen, mouthing a silent thank you. Widen nodded like a good wifey and popped a strawberry in her mouth.